Hello, everyone. Welcome. I'm Lindsay, a member of the CK-12 team, and my colleague Felix and I will be running this learning management breakout session on CK-12 in Google Classroom. We're so glad that you have joined us. Before we start, let's make sure everyone is comfortable with the Zoom webinar platform. You should see two different options on your Zoom screen, one for Q&A and one for chat. During today's presentation, whenever you have a question about CK-12 in Google Classroom, please post it in the Q&A window for Felix to answer. The chat window is a place for community conversation. We'd love for you all to introduce yourselves. I know a lot of you have already done that. Thank you. If you're an educator, feel free to share where you live and what subject you teach. Just make sure in the chat window that you are sending any general posts to all panelists and attendees, and not just to CK-12 or the panelists. That way everybody can see what you've put in that window. I'll also mention that we are recording this session and it will be on our webinars page in the archive section within 24 hours. We have created a resource page for this session. You can find it at the URL listed on the screen. We'll also put the link for the resource in the chat window right now. And this is just a front and back resource page that we think you'll find handy. Maybe save it to your computer. You're welcome to print it, but no immediate action item for right now. It's just a reference for a later time. And so given this is a short webinar, we're going to jump right into the content. As we go, feel free to post any questions you have for us in the Q&A window. So today's session on Google Classroom integration focuses on the following topics: Flexbook 2.0 and related modalities. I'm going to do a quick overview of CK-12's Flexbook 2.0 platform and learning modalities that can be assigned to classes in Google Classroom. Then we'll talk about the Google Classroom integration, how to assign content and practice, and how to see student progress in Google. As many of you know, our newest Flexbook 2.0 lessons include text, often with embedded multimedia, and questions and corresponding practice or a customized quiz. Other available resources, which can be found in the related content for a 2.0 lesson or individually across our site, include videos, simulations, Clicks Interactives, and real-world applications, or RWAs. We cover many of these in depth in other webinar sessions, but let's talk a bit about what you are assigning and what is reported back to you. Flexbook 2.0 lessons automatically assign any matching practice or quiz attached to that lesson when you make an assignment. The score reported to your class will be based on the attached practice or quiz. These are scored as a percentage out of a goal of 10 correct for practice, or the total number of questions for a quiz. If you make your own Flexbook and have yet to include matching practice, then the lesson would be assigned like other learning modalities with full or no credit given. And don't worry, you don't have to memorize this chart or study it right now. It's on that reference sheet that we mentioned earlier in the session. Individual practice quizzes report the same way as they do in a Flexbook 2.0 lesson, while reads and other modalities, like Flexbook 2.0 lessons without practice or a quiz, show either full or no credit. If you want to reference this chart, you can find it on the resource page after this session. And again, Felix is going to go over a lot of this with you as well. So with that, let me turn it over to Felix, who will be exploring our Google Classroom integration.
Awesome. Thank you, Lindsay. Let me share my screen. Oh, hang on one second. First things first. So we're just going to talk about the difference between sharing versus assigning to Google. So when you share something to your Google Classroom, it's not something that's going to be graded by CK-12. So you can think of it as if you were posting like a link or just sharing something, copying a link and embedding it into Google Classroom. When you assign something, that is where you sort of turn on the capabilities to have the grades passed back. So that's like the bigger difference between the two. Also, assign is only available for certain modalities that we have on our website. But sharing you can do pretty much for all things. So if there's something like a book that you want to share, you can do that. Since you can't assign the entire book, you could share the book, and then you can assign the individual lessons. So that's the big thing is sharing. Just post it to your class. It's like a quick way to get it there, and then assigning is actually where you get the grade pass back. And then also the first time you start using the integration, you'll see like this connect to Google Classroom. It's going to ask you to choose an account. So you should choose the account that your Google Classroom is associated to. And then you're going to see like a set of permissions that's going to be asking you basically things we need in order for the integration to work. If you don't feel comfortable accepting those permissions, you know, without that, the integration won't work. So just make sure you're reviewing that, and if everything looks fine, please accept that, because we need that in order for it to work. And with that, let me share my screen and I'll kind of walk you guys through. First thing I'm going to do is go through, I guess, the teacher aspect of it. So this is, you guys are here on CK-12 creating assignments. So right now I'm signed in as a teacher. I signed in using Google. If you guys already have CK-12 accounts that you may have set up prior to different email, you can still use your Google Classroom accounts to assign. So don't worry if you already have some resources sort of in one account, but it's not tied to your Google Classroom account. So as Lindsay was mentioning, there's quite a few things that you can actually assign. So first thing I'll do is I'll take you to our newer Flexbook 2.0 world. One of the nice things about this is that it has a lot of smart capabilities built in. So there's now the practices are associated with the lessons. And if you customize these, you have the option of swapping that for a quiz. So before I go in, we also do have like related modalities, and I'll show you another place to sort of see these. But this is our new Flexbook 2.0 system, if you guys haven't seen it already. The nice thing about this is you get the lesson, which is here, but you also have the practice, which is here. And so when you assign this, so let me go ahead and click assign. And then here's another kind of big thing. So when you're using Google Classroom, what you do not need to do is set up classes on CK-12. So if you have gone into CK-12 and started creating classes that kind of mirror your Google Classroom classes, you don't need to do that. Basically, if you're using Google Classroom, you click on Google Classroom. And then it's going to load your Google Classroom classes. So what I was mentioning about this here is that that the 2.0 lessons assign both the read and the practice. And in order for students to be able to turn it in, they have to attempt the practice. So they have to kind of go through the practice at least once, get some score, and then they'll be able to turn it in. So here you have the options of adding some instructions. Got morning fingers. This assignment. You can change the title if you want. Down here is my Google Classroom classes. So with these Flexbook 2.0 assignments, we require a start date and a due date. And also because it has a practice sort of associated with it, you can do, you have the option of turning on answers. And what this will do, if I turn this on, what this will do is once this is done, once the student attempts it, you will show them the answers to each question. If this was left unchecked, after the students kind of go through an attempt, they won't be able to see the correct answers until the due date is passed. So that's just one thing. So if you don't want students to kind of go through and see, like go through the practice once and then see the answers, you can leave that sort of unchecked. And that way, it just makes it a little more challenging for them, work a little bit harder. So yeah, so start date, due date, I'm just gonna say the 10th. You can change, like this can start later. I'm just going to leave it for this today's date, and then you can select as many as you want. Just make sure you have a start and a due date set. And then once you do that, you click assign, and then this will send the assignments to Google Classroom. And then I'll show you, so I'll go ahead and click OK there. And then the other thing that you can do is there's the related content. So we have a few other, so like let's say for like a video, say you wanted to also give a video assignment. So this is the video itself. I'm going to go ahead and click here. And so now this is taking us into our, I guess our what we call 1.x. This is kind of before we had the Flexbook 2.0, but this is still like a great way to sort of find all your standalone modalities and resources that can accompany, you know, other lessons. So when you're on pages that look like this and you see this assign to class, this is sort of an identifier that's telling you that you can assign it. So again, we have the instructions in the title. I'm going to click on Google Classroom again. Again, no, don't worry about CK-12 classes. You don't need to do that. And then so here with these assignments, we don't require a start date. And actually even the due date is optional. So you can assign these as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and pick that same fall GC class, and I'm going to assign it. And so the same thing, this is going to be posted to our Google Classroom class. And I'll do one other thing that's pretty useful. So a lot of you probably are creating quizzes or even your own Flexbooks. So let me just show you that you can assign quizzes. And let me click on this guy. And these are all like quizzes that we've kind of made. So quizzes are not adaptive practices. You can add your own questions. You can pull from our question banks and kind of create like a custom quiz based on the questions that we have, or you can add your own. So again, you can also assign this, and then the process is the same. And this is if you wanted to assign it sort of individually. But again, for that Flexbook 2.0 lesson, what you can do is there's a way to associate the practice. We don't cover that here, but it is an option once you sort of customize or you have your own custom Flexbook. So I just created a couple assignments. I'll do a search. So this way you can also find materials. So if you're not quite sure, you just kind of have an idea of what you're looking for. The search bar is always great to use. And here it'll bring up cells. There's a read right here. And then it also tells you like where it's found in. So this was found in this book here. And then we have assessment, and then just, you know, a bunch of like tons of different things that we have. And not only that, we also have community contributed. So if there's something like history or, you know, some subject that we may not have a full breadth of content on, community contribute, this tab here is also great to sort of to check out. And these are resources that are from other users like yourself, but they've actually published these things. So if you're working on something and you feel like you want to share it and have it accessible to others, you can always publish something to have it shared. And it'll once it's published, it'll start showing in the community contributed. So searching is also a great way to kind of find things. So let me go into Google Classroom itself. There we go. And I'm going to go back. So once you create an assignment, these is where they all show up in your Google Classroom class, the one that you picked. So here we see the quiz that we did. There's a scientific method, things like that. So let's say, okay, so now I've created my quiz. Now what do I do? Or created my assignment. Now what do I do? If you need to change anything, so got it. Thank you, Google. So this is our assignment that got posted. By default, that's the other thing I wanted to mention. So by default, our point system is we just give it like a standard 100% or 100 points. If you want to change that, you can. So you can always set this 20 points or 50, whatever you feel is a good value. Um, Also, once this assignment's been created, if you wanted to change who it's assigned to, Google does allow you to do that. So by default, we assign it to the entire group. And then we kind of let you manage who actually has access to this assignment. So that's still all done in Google Classroom. And so I'll also mention again that the thing, yeah, so if you're using Google Classroom, do not worry about setting up CK-12 classes. We want the process to be kind of as streamlined as possible. So you don't need to worry about trying to manage CK-12 classes and Google Classroom. Just focus on your Google Classroom classes, assign or share anything that you want your students to use, and then they'll have access to that there. The other thing I'm going to show you is the grades. So these assignments haven't been done yet. These ones are sort of missing, so they haven't been turned in. But I can show you what one that is turned in. Let me see if I can find this guy. So once students start turning this stuff in, you'll start seeing it populate in your gradebook. And this is the grade passback piece that we were mentioning earlier. So if I click on this attached report, this is going to bring me to that assignment in the class report, but it's also going to give me like the full class report. And so this is coming from CK-12. And if you were using CK-12 classes, you'd see the same report for your own classes. So you still have access to the same reporting capabilities that CK-12 classes do. So here you can see sort of how the student did. So again, this is their actual attempt. You can see the questions that were asked, what their responses were, how many questions they even attempted. So that is available to you in Google Classroom itself. And then here you can see the rest of the class as well. So as they start turning things in, again, this was a quiz, so this is also available to you as well. For things that aren't, let's see if I have. So like a Plix, and I'll show you Plix and Sims as well. So like a Plix and Sims, these are kind of credit, no credit. So what happens is they will turn this in. They basically get full credit after sort of attempting a few practice questions or interacting with the Plix or Sim. Then they'll be able to turn it in, and it just shows up as kind of like a credit, no credit. So I think Lindsay had mentioned that earlier. That same goes for like videos as well, since there's no actual assessment to score them on. It's the same sort of thing. And so let me jump over to, actually, let me show you the Plix and Sim, because that's pretty solid stuff. So assigning that is pretty simple. I'm actually just going to go to, we'll do a simulation. And so they have their own dedicated browse pages. So I was on the home page and I just scrolled down to find our interactive Plix and Sims. But they're also sort of accompanying the appropriate lessons within the site as well. So you'll see them sort of sprinkled out. So here's a simulation. It gives you great interactive capabilities. It's HTML5, so there's no Flash, anything like that. It just works right in the browser. And on the phones with a nice size real estate, tablets work really well. I won't go through the whole thing. Please explore simulations when you get a chance if you haven't already. But I'm just, so, and then the assign is the same. I'll pick the same class and then just assign that to Google Classroom. So again, not worrying about my CK-12 classes, this stuff's already set up by Google. I'm just sending it there. Um, I'll go back really quick just to show you the Plix, so that just to show you that how the assign looks pretty much the same. And then I will I'll jump into the student side, and then I think after that I'll stop for the Q&A. So Plix is another great interactive. We also have both Plix and simulations embedded in some of our Flexbook 2.0 lessons. So that's just another like great selling point for the 2.0 lessons. They have a lot of things that before were kind of outside of, they were all kind of like a grab and go, but now we're kind of bringing all these things together. So it's a great way to just kind of have a lot of things in one place without having to go find them. But you can, like I'm doing, assign these things separately. So that way, if you just want to grab a few different extra resources to accompany any of your assignments, you can. Okay, so we've got a few assignments kind of lingering around for our classroom. Let me switch over to the Google, my student. So let me do that real quick. All right, so here we go. Okay. So now I am showing you my student account, demo student account. You notice the first place I am going is Google Classroom and not CK-12. So same thing holds true here. Students will not be going directly. There's no need for them to log into CK-12 directly and then try to find their class and assignments. Everything is still going to be managed in Google Classroom for you. So let me just open one of these assignments here. So this is our Plix assignment. So the Plix assignment was one of the credit, no credit assignments. And so for students, the big thing for them is when they're going to their assignments directly from Google Classroom, they just need to click on this assignment here, and that's going to take them directly to the assignment. There's no need for them to go to CK-12 and try to find it. Just have them go to Google Classroom directly, and then yeah, just go from there. So this is a Plix. It has a few questions that you have to go through. For the Plix and the Sims, it has you do some sort of interaction before things are submitted. So they attempted it. Whether they got it right or wrong, we're just looking for some interactivity, and we got that. So now we were able to submit the assignment. If I go back to the Plix, you see it was graded, and again, that's that default score, so you can adjust that if you want. And then I'm going to jump over. Actually, no, I'll do another assignment. Let's see. I think this was hopefully the 2.0 assignment. Let's see. No, this was the video. So the video again is the credit, no credit. This one is auto graded for them. So as soon as they open this and this loads, we're able to send the grade. What I wanted to show was the 2.0 assignment. So let me just find that. I think it was this guy. And there's a couple things for these assignments. So one is, yes, this is right. Okay. So one is before they can even submit this, they have to do the practice. So it looks like we've already started this practice, but say they didn't practice. If they were to try to turn this in, they would not be able to. So what I'm going to do is just kind of open this up. So at least we started it. Say, let's do keep practicing. Say this is my first time, I'm going through, I do some questions, and then once I'm done, let's say I go through all 10 and it kind of it submits this practice. That submission is not the final submission for you guys, for your students, I should say. What they need to do is they can close this guy. This is just kind of giving them a little progress on what they've done. And then there's one of the smart features, it tells you where in this reading, you may find the answer to this. You can sort of go over this, and maybe that's going to help answer this correctly next time. And that's just one of many features that are in and coming to the Flexbook 2.0 lessons. So once they've done that, now they're ready to turn in the assignment. So they can click on this guy, and we give them a little warning if they haven't done like 100%, so they haven't fully got the full 10 correct. So they can have the option to keep going or just turn it in. I'm going to say turn in. So now this is submitting, and then this little pulsating dot was that paragraph that was highlighted in the report over here. Yeah, this guy. So here we go. All right, so this told me that I turned this in. I got 60%. Let's go over to Google Classroom. Hey, look, 60 out of 100. So that is the big thing I'll say for this, is that students should open these assignments directly from Google Classroom, even if they have already opened it, like if they were browsing it outside of Google Classroom, maybe on their own. When they're ready to complete it as an assignment, just have them go to their Google Classrooms, click on the assignment link. It's going to open. If they haven't done the practice or the quiz, they'll need to complete that first. And if they were to try to click on this, it's going to warn them, or it's actually going to show them a message saying you need to complete the practice or the associated quiz first before you can turn this in. And then one more thing. So some more cool stuff for these Flexbooks 2.0 lessons. Real quickly too, if you guys have been having any issues with like turn in, you're not seeing, students aren't seeing the turn in button, we have some updates going out today that's going to hopefully address that. And then we are working to anything that you guys are reporting, we're working on fixing. So just keep that in mind. If you guys are having any problems, reach out to us at support, and we're pushing out updates constantly to keep you guys going, and support you guys in this crazy time. So let me share the teacher, and then I promise I will get to your questions. I just want to show you guys one last thing.
I imagine you're about to show probably what the biggest question has been in our Q&A, which is how to see the insights.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Okay. Yeah. So let me find this. What is this? Scientific expressions interpretation. Okay. So teachers. So the report is here. This is that same class report. Now if I click on it, you'll see the grade for this assignment in that Plix. You should see. So the Plix got the check mark. The practice got the 60%. And then here you can see sort of how the student did. But like when you guys were looking for, so for the 2.0 assignments, we have something called insights. The way that you teachers will be able to access this is almost following the student's workflow. So what you're going to do is click on the assignment, and this is available for all of our 2.0 assignments. The only thing that has to be done on the student side is that they have to turn it in before you can actually start seeing, I guess, the full insights. But I'll show you how to get there. Okay, so we're inside of this, and you do have to open this from Google Classroom, so we kind of know that you're in Google, you're using this as an assignment. And okay, so this is the insights. I open this from Google Classroom, open this assignment from Google Classroom. I click on insights. So these students here haven't done the assignment yet. So for them, we don't see anything. But for my student that just turned in, we're seeing their insights. I didn't spend a whole lot of time. That's why this time spent histogram is kind of flat. But you do see sort of where they may be struggling. So you can kind of use, let's see. So this is that same paragraph that was highlighted when I was showing you the student side. And then again, there might have been something else that was missed in here. So these insights are hopefully to assist you guys sort of tracking down maybe some students that are struggling, kind of see maybe where in this read they're having problems. And we have more insights coming. You can see how much time they're spending, their mastery or their practice skill level. And we do have more insights coming. But this is hopefully to help you guys sort of see where your students are struggling. This is a really huge feature. And then clicking on that tells you exactly what question they missed. So just to recap, how did I get here? So this is the assignment that I created. The student has turned it in. I clicked on this guy. It opened this lesson. Let me close this. Brought me here. And so now in the toolbar, the insights is here, and I click on that, and then that's how I got to the insight. If you have a big class, you can sort performance. I mean, right now I only have just the one, but you get the idea. As your students start turning this in, these features will probably be a lot better, and plus your classes will be a lot bigger than what we're showing you here. But so insights is here. You can get to it. Reports is also here. And these two things is exactly what our CK-12 classes also have access to. So it's you're not missing anything. We're trying to keep everything in sync as best as we can to the capabilities of Google Classroom. So we're still providing you the same insights, the same reporting, and passing back the grades to your classes. So that way, and it's still all in Google Classroom. So hopefully that takes out some of the confusion of having to sort of manage where you would manage, just stay in Google Classroom, and then just kind of have things passed back to Google Classroom. Hopefully that keeps it easier for you guys, and I will stop and take questions. Thank you guys.
You've been great, Felix. Why don't I let you catch your breath for a minute and check out what is remaining in the Q&A. And I'm actually going to take the screen back for just a moment and do a little bit of wrap-up information in case anybody's needing to jump off of this webinar sooner than later. Just want to go over a few things, and then we will stay on and we will answer anything that remains in the Q&A window. So a couple of things that I think are worth mentioning. This short learning management system isn't one of the qualifying sessions for our new certified educator program, but I know a lot of you are asking about this and you're interested in becoming certified. So go to www.ck12.org/certified and you can read all about our program. And then there's a register button. Once registered, you'll gain access to support materials and matching assignments, and you'll be off and running with our program. We referenced this tiny URL earlier today, and we'll put it in the chat window again, but this is a resource page that has that chart on how things are scored. It should be a reference to you. You might want to download it or print it or just save it on your desktop, and hopefully you find that helpful. We have 2 upcoming webinars on our schedule. Next Monday, we'll be leading a session called Strategies for Using CK-12, which is one of the 3 required live sessions for our Certified Educator program. Then on Tuesday, we're running another LMS breakout on Canvas and Schoology. So if you have any friends or colleagues who are interested in using that LMS, you might pass the word along. You can sign up for any of our webinars at ck12.org/webinars. So again, we're going to stay on and we're going to answer any final questions that everyone has. If you have a technical question that is probably better given to support, the email address you would be emailing is support@ck12.org. And then we would love for you to share your participation in our webinars and your use of CK-12 with the social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. You can find us at CK-12 Foundation. Okay, so that's it for the core programming, but as promised, I'm going to turn it back over to Felix, and maybe you've had a chance to check out the questions in the Q&A.
Yes. So let me I'll just go down the list here. Um, ba, 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 ba. So Teresa's asking, can you have a start date for the standalones? This is something we need in our district. We can definitely add that. I think that's in our roadmap is to bring in the start date for that. And let me just share just in case. So the standalone was where like the let me bring this up. Where is this window? Too many windows. Okay. But yes, we will be adding that eventually. And this is the standalone that she was saying. So here, providing a start date. I believe that allows you guys to schedule assignments. So yes, we will be adding a start date here. So that is coming. And next question, James Brown. Hey, I usually embed link videos in Google Classroom assignment. This requires me to go back and individually edit each class. Are there best practices that have been shared regarding trying to collate all modalities into one assignment bucket? So what I think, usually embed videos. Oh, yeah, I think I get what you're saying. So am I in the right one? Yeah, so there isn't a way to, I guess, group our assignments. So these would show up as individual assignments within your Google Classroom. I was talking to a user the other day, and she did attach something to her assignment. But I think what happens is the order of turn-in. So the way it works on our side is once the students click turn in, we turn in the entire assignment. And what she was explaining to me was because the whole assignment is turned in, then I guess students don't get the option of going back to, she had a quiz, so I'm not sure if it works that way for everything else, but she had a quiz, and because the whole assignment was turned in, they had to sort of unsubmit and then go into the quiz. So it is possible to do it if you're looking just to embed external stuff. But if you wanted to combine, let's say like this with a video assignment with a Plix assignment, there isn't a way to do that. We only attach one per post, I guess, per assignment that shows up. So you still would have to do them separately, but if you're looking to add like additional resources, you can do that. But it's sort of outside of CK-12 at that point. And then, so hopefully that answers your question, James.
Yeah, next you have a couple questions about insights. Can students see the insights as well?
Yeah, yeah, as in yes, I see the question, not yes, as in you can. So students do not, and I can show you. Let me just find that window. Okay. Oh, here we go. My toolbar keeps moving. So students do not see it. And let me show you what they see. So yeah, the options is not there. I believe we're actually, I don't want to speak incorrectly. I know we're doing a lot around insights, so there may be something for student insights. Don't quote me. I know we have a lot of cool things coming, but at the time, they do not see those insights, but they do still have access to. Of course, they still have access to their practice results. So that was.
Sure. Felix, the next question is, do students not receive the assignment till the start date, or is it just clear to them that they do not need to start it yet?
Right. So that's a good question. So let me show you that, because they will not receive it until the start date. And I can show you. So I think because it's posted in the future, what Google will end up doing is scheduling that scheduling it ahead of time. And so because it's scheduled, they won't they won't see the assignment until it's posted. So I can kind of show you what that looks like. So let's say I post this, let's say a week out, and we'll make it due the 10th. So if I assign this, it's going to schedule the assignment ahead of time, and I think that's what the other question was kind of alluding to, is the start date for the individual lessons. So this got posted. Let's go to Google Classroom and editors. Let's see. I forget where this ends up going. I think it might be under classwork. Okay, so here it is. This is the one that I just assigned ahead of time, scheduled for April 8th, 12 midnight. Let me then show you what the students. So because it's scheduled, the students aren't going to. They're not going to see this. But real quickly, just to prove that to you, let me go back to the student account here. So he's not seeing that at all. And even if I refresh. So yeah, so scheduled, if you push it out, if the due date's not the current date, it'll be scheduled in Google. And then I'm not sure exactly what time Google starts loading in those scheduled assignments. I think it's like sometime early in the morning, or actually the scheduled time that it shows the but yeah, so students won't see it until it's scheduled, and then it'll show up in their stream. So
I think we'll see if there are any final questions coming in. Otherwise, we're about to wrap up this session. Hopefully everybody feels more comfortable with Google Classroom and our integration and is excited to start using it.
Yep. And I'll just add, because I know some people are having some issues. So we are pushing out some updates today. Hopefully that will address a lot of any issues that you guys are having around students not seeing the turn-in button. But again, if you guys are having any issues, please email support. Star, myself, or whoever is there, we'll be happy to to walk you guys through that. And then we're open to doing video calls as well. But yeah, thank you guys for hanging in there with us. I saw one question came in from Todd. So Todd asked a pretty good question. So he is asking, if I already have classes set up with CK-12 but have not used them yet, would you recommend sticking with assignments through Google Classroom for simplicity's sake? Yeah. So Todd, I would say, yeah, if you are using Google Classroom already, I would stick with Google Classroom, just because, yeah, I mean, because it's going to be a pain trying to set up all the classes and then going between the two systems, and it actually doesn't work that way. So if you're using Google Classroom, stick to Google Classroom, post assignments, share resources, just kind of keep everything there. Hopefully that makes it easier for you and your students. I would say stick with Google Classroom. Unless you weren't already using Google Classroom, then feel free to jump on CK-12 and have at it. But yeah, that's my recommend. That's what we recommend for anyone who's using an LMS that supports our integration. So like Canvas, Schoology, or Google Classroom, if you're already there, just it gives you the capabilities that you need, stick with it, and you just use the integration. Don't worry about coming on to CK-12 and setting up classes. That's just more work for you, which you don't have time for. And then I may have missed it. Okay, so someone was asking about access to insights. So I'm happy to show that again. The answer to that question was you do, and I can show you how to get there. So this for the person asking, this is my teacher account. This is my Google Classroom. Let's see if I believe this was a 2.0 assignment. So how teachers get to insights is they click on the assignment, Bam. And then it's going to take you into the assignment. And then there's a toolbar that's going to be there for you to see your insights. And I'll state again, like in order for the insights to start showing for the students, they have to turn in the assignment. So once that's done, you'll see it. I think my internet connection is going away. Here we go. Okay. Everyone's in our building is on Wi-Fi, and everyone's internet connection is suffering. Okay, so this is the insights piece. So as a teacher, click on that assignment from Google Classroom. It's going to take you into that assignment, and then it's going to give you the insights. So you do have, I didn't want to close that. You do have access to it from Google Classroom. So you're in Google Classroom is pretty much on par with what CK-12 has, CK-12 classes offer. The big thing is just you're using Google Classroom as your class management instead of CK-12. And then 0 time on lesson. Yeah, James is saying, okay, so he's seeing quiz grades with 0 time on lessons. I mean, not looking. Oh, yeah, that right. So if you're seeing 0 here, it's a good chance that the students is coming in and maybe just going directly to the practice and not even spending time reading, or I don't want to say they're not doing it. Maybe they've read it, outside of the assignment, but it is possible that is what's happening. All right, and I guess this is maybe the last one. What are the note-taking features, and will students have feature access to the notes? Yeah, James. Right on, James. Yeah, I remember being in 8th grade, and shortcuts were definitely the fun thing to do. So note-taking, what are the note-taking features? So students have access to this. These are our annotations, we call them. So they can highlight, they can add a note for themselves. Good find. And then somewhere, students have access to this as well. And here we go. In their notes and highlights, it'll tell them basically whatever. So this was a highlight, this is the note. This is what the note was referencing. And students have the same access to this. Yeah, and it's saved to their account. So once they're opening the assignments, that's the other thing. Once students open these assignments, they're automatically signed in. So there's no like, don't worry about accounts, don't worry about any of that stuff. But yeah, so students do have access to notes. It looks exactly the same, and in their notes and highlights section, they'll see their notes and highlights for this lesson or whatever lesson. And this is not just 2.0. This is also in our other Flexbooks that aren't as interactive, but they do have notes and highlights as well.
Great. Thank you, Felix, and thanks to everyone for joining us today. We are going to go ahead and sign off of this webinar. If you need any additional support, you can email support@ck12.org, and we will see you next time. Thank you.